And welcome to another edition of AttractWell Office Hours. I'm Coach Ashley. Today we are joined by founder of AttractWell, Greg Kilwine. Hey, Greg.
Hello, everybody.
We're thrilled to have you here today. Today we're going to be talking about creating your own personal assistant. This is a really fun topic. I think it really hits home with a lot of us, especially I think basically everybody here, if we were to poll you, is a solopreneur of some kind. You have got a one-man or one-person show, one-woman show, and you're looking for ways for you to buy your time back, right? And sometimes we take that conversation about buying our time back all the way over to hiring someone to do things that we don't really feel like we have time to do or that we would love to release from our responsibility. While that is an excellent thing to do, if you're able to do it, it is something that creates a good amount of overhead for your business that you may or may not be in the position to pay. And even more importantly, if you are in the position to pay it, it's really easy to waste a lot of money getting the wrong kind of help or not having systems in place so that the help that you're paying for is not functioning efficiently. So today we're going to talk about getting all of that figured out. I've got some really fun and very simple things that we can implement starting today in your AttractWell account so that you can have, in effect, your own personal assistant, office manager, if you will, that tells you when to show up and do what. And then we'll also take that to the next level as well if we want to see automations in our system doing more of the heavy lifting for us in our businesses. But before we get into that, I want to first invite you guys to come over into the chat. Let us know where you're coming in from. Let us know what you're working on this week. We're excited to hear from you. And before I get started with training and showing and telling, Greg has a really cool feature update to share for our page builder. For those of you who are building beautiful home pages, funnel pages, and other pages inside of your AttractWell account.
Sounds good. Let me share that out here. Yeah, we made a little update that has some big design implications for the page builder. For those of you not familiar, the page builder, click on pages, and then you'll see a list of any pages you might have created, or you can create a new one. But I'm going to pop into this, which one that's called here, the book a call template that I have down here. And so what the feature update is now you can create a shadow on a section. So previously, just to show you, like it could, for example, if I go in here and edit the styles on this, I could add a shadow, let's say, to that text. So let's say, okay, I don't know if you can see that little, there's that little backdrop in there. Maybe I can make it darker or something to make it show up a little bit more, but there's a little shadow back there. You can do that on individual page elements with this little magic wand tool or other things. But now you can actually take that drop shadow and put it on a whole section, which would, in this case, the reason I'm using this template is this big red banner here. I'm going to throw a little shadow behind it. But first, let me preview it so you can see what it looks like now. You can see it's very, very flat. The white goes right up to the red here. And I'll add the shadow now. So click on the pencil, which lets you edit the background or the settings for that section. So click on the pencil, this panel opens up on the right if it wasn't already. And if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, the new feature is this section shadow. It's got a bunch of settings and dials and colors and whatever, so you can play around with that. But the easy button to turn it on is just click add. It's going to toss a little shadow back there. I don't know if you can see that. It's very subtle. Let me turn up the intensity a little bit here so maybe you can see it a little bit more. In case it gets a little grainy on Zoom, but you can play with how big is it. You can make it more intense or very, very narrow. You can make it very wide and intense or shrink it down. So there's different settings you could do here. You can move it up and down if you wanted to cast down, that sort of thing. But I'm just going to leave it kind of in the middle here, put it on all the zeros, and I will preview this and show you what it looks like now. So you can see it a little bit better here, but you can see it casting a shadow above and beyond. So it really makes this let's get your game plan stand out. This can be really good for calls to action or main headlines that you have on your website where you've got something that you really want to catch a person's eye on. So yeah, it's something you can play around with. It adds a little extra visual pizzazz in some cases. So by all means, give it a try, and hopefully it helps you make even more beautiful web pages.
Love it. Thank you, Greg. Yeah, it's a really exciting feature. It adds a nice little lift to draw the eye to exactly where you want them to look. So if you have floating sections and things you really want to call out, give that a try this week. All right, so we're going to go ahead and go into slide presentations, and I'll also be moving over to actually show and tell inside of your AttractWell account as well, so you can see what this stuff looks like. But we're going to go ahead and turn the video off, and then get into that. Get into that slide presentation here. This is going to be a good amount that I'm sharing with you guys today. As you know, it's worth it to be able to hire somebody to give you your time back. And in this case, we're going to be creating a something to give you your time back. So it's worth the time and effort that you put into it. I want to encourage you to turn off any distractions that you may have around and take some notes. You will be able to watch this as a replay, of course. But I really would love to see you take the simplicity of what you're about to learn and feel great about going and putting it into action right away from this call. So today we are, as promised, going to talk about creating your own digital personal assistant with your AttractWell account. So we're going to talk about how we train that personal assistant in your AttractWell account today, and then get into any live help and Q&A that you have. If you are here today looking for help, please do go ahead and add your questions to the Q&A. If you are just getting started with us, you're wondering if getting started with us is the right move, if you have a page that you're working on, a strategy you're looking to nail down, whatever that might be, go ahead and add any questions to the Q&A. We're happy to chat with you live here on the call. And if you would like to work together live and plan ahead for this in a more dedicated fashion, you want to have us look through some of the things that you're doing together, you can go to attractwell.com/work review, and we can cover some specific things that you want to look at during dedicated time in a future call like this one. And of course, if you're watching this as a replay later on YouTube, you can go to attractwell.com/office hours to get on the list so that you can join us on one of these live calls in the future. So for those of us who are here today, I'm curious, have any of you hired an assistant? Do you have an assistant in one or more of your businesses? And if you don't, do you ever feel like you need one? Like, I want one, I need one, I need someone to do some of the work for me, right? So the thing is, if you already have AttractWell, you kind of already have one, right? You already have a little bit of an assistant. And I think one of the great ways to look at this is maybe an office assistant. If you've ever worked in an office as one, or you've had one, you've got somebody whose finger is on the pulse of everything that needs to happen in the business that day and can tell you, business owner, where you need to show up and get things done. That is 100% something that you can accomplish with what I'm going to teach you here today. And actually, a kind of fun story, and you may have met or heard of her before, but Joni Ditterman is a AttractWell community member who teaches, she's a chiropractor, she teaches other chiropractors how to run a staffless practice. And key to her staffless practice methodology is using her AttractWell account for just about everything, right? So we're actually able to replace the functions of having employees previously, and to really actually create this amazing phenomenon where it's just her showing up to work with her patients. They're booking themselves, the follow-up is happening automatically, or she's reminded, and so on. So you already have this assistant. They just need to be trained to go to work for your unique business. So let's go ahead and get it done. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do in training our AttractWell assistant is to outline our business systems. All right, so outlining our business systems is critical. And by the way, everything that I'm showing you here today, this really is an order of operations thing. I am very much a method-driven person. And this is something that from using this myself, training folks, including folks like Jody, how to use our system, please take that to heart when I'm sharing this with you today. This is very much an order of operations thing. So the first thing that we want to do is outline your business systems, which is easier than you think. And I'll give you some examples to help make this easy for you. Then you want to train your assistant, of course, and we're going to do that in operations, communications, and systems. And we're going to start here with outlining your business systems. This is something that you will do outside of AttractWell. Note that this is a step that you may find that you need to repeat for multiple offerings. If you offer, let's just say, for instance, if you offer group coaching And your process for bringing people into a group coaching offer is different from the process that you may use to bring someone into a high ticket coaching or one-on-one coaching offer. You may need to outline your system accordingly. All right, so the first thing that we're going to need to do is to literally make an outline. Right, so please make an outline in a word processor, right? In an outline format. Doesn't matter if it's bulleted, numbered, Harvard, whatever. We want to make this an outline. And then we want to imagine our business pipeline flowing in perfect linear fashion. So assuming that a perfectly qualified prospect is in front of you, right? And the end outcome of your communication with them, what you share, what you say, what you do, the steps you follow, is a full buy-in. We're going to create an entry in this outline for everything that you're going to say, ask, or share that's going to facilitate that end outcome. So we're just going to imagine a straight line from new prospect to new client, and then even through the full buy-in. I would actually encourage you to even consider, if you haven't done this yet, looking at what your systems are for onboarding and serving your clients as well. So it helps to approach this by looking at your business in this linear fashion, again, in stages. First stage being, and by the way, for those of us who are coaching, doing service-based offerings, one-on-one or group coaching, or you have a level of personal interaction or qualification with someone before they become your client, then this is going to make a lot of sense to you. If you are hoping to go about, getting new clients into your pipeline by other more automated means and not by any communication at all, there may be some changes you want to make to this, but I'm pretty sure this is going to apply to the majority of us who are here right now. All right. So we go from introduction to warm lead, right? Then we go from warm lead to an opportunity to present what you offer. You've made that presentation and they become a new client. You've got a new client, they become an established client, right? So they're past their onboarding. And then you've got your established client who then is capable of, if you offer it, moving into a higher tier offering, right? If you have a mastermind or something like that. All right, so just to give you an example of a breakdown of this, to go from the phase, this is one phase, from introduction to warm lead, your list might look something like this. Make your own, of course, but it might look a little like this. Add this new contact to your contact manager. Look them up on social media, maybe add them there, of course, add them as a friend, a contact, a connect, then like or comment on one of their posts to engage with them. Send an email, a text, or a DM in the first 24 hours after meeting them. Maybe ask them questions. Maybe there are specific questions you like to ask. Write it down. Ask questions to keep that conversation going, because if you are someone who is actively prospecting for business, which most of us are, then we do need to have more leverage in the way that we go about communicating and moving people through our leads pipeline. There are automated and leveraged things we can do, but we do still have to be there, right? This is still a thing that we need to do for our business. So we ask questions to keep the convo going, and then we want to make sure that we stay in touch once per week, at least, to keep that conversation going, staying top of mind and moving them toward that next stage in the pipeline. Again, it may look like this for you. If you're a social seller, a network marketer, it's going to look very much like this for you. If you're a coach who is maybe business to customer, right? You're not looking for other business owners. This may also look like you, where you're communicating with people who might join a weight loss program or a challenge that you have, or something to that effect, right? Another example of a stage in this outline is going to be from new client to established client. So what this could look like is that you need to make sure to send out the client agreement, that you might need to apply an onboarding campaign, or if you have an onboarding class that you put them into inside of your member area, you need to be reminded to do that, right? We need to know that we schedule our first call if this is a private client. We might need a reminder for that. We have the client complete an intake form prior to that first call, perhaps, and then any notes that you have from your discovery call where you made the sale, you want to make sure you've got those in your contact manager as well for future reference. right? So that's 2 examples of phases inside of this master list. So I just want you to make a master list of what it looks like from introduction to a someone all the way through to them having paid for, happily engaged in the best of what you have to offer. Linear, assuming no resistance, everything flows well and works as you would like for it to. Let's get clear on what all of the things are. What do you do? What do you say? What do you share? What are the steps? Okay. And the only things at this stage that belong on this list are things that your business currently offers and that you currently do to support it, right? That could mean that these are things that you know you need to do, but maybe you don't always do consistently, right? Or they're things that you frequently find yourself rushing to do at the last minute, or things that just feel like they're taking up a lot of your time. Oh, you have a question here? You want to go back to this slide here from new client to established client? Sure, here you go. There you go, if you want to take a screenshot. And of course, you will have the recording of this as well. All right, and then, again, this is just an example. All right, so let's make our outline. That is the first thing that we need to do. Another thing to note, what goes in this outline, these are things you do manually. Yes, there are going to be things that we can maybe set up for automation or leverage, but these are places where you're showing up in your business. All right, so once we've got that done and we know our systems, it's time to train our assistant. All right, so now we're going to get into our operations training. So your business operations are the things that you do daily to keep it running, right? This is your to-do list, your business to-do list. If you're a coach, if you are a network marketer, if you are consulting and you are actively networking, seeking to grow your business, there are things that you should be doing every single day to keep it running. That's keeping in touch with existing contacts. That's maintaining notes on existing contacts. That's growing your list of new contacts and making new connections, right? So we're talking about right now the operations that keep things going for you, okay? So we're setting up our operation systems in AttractWell. What we do first to create operating systems is to create a follow-up plan. All right, a follow-up plan is something that you're going to create for each stage in your outline that you've already created that we just talked about, right? So I'm going to go and show you in just a second what a follow-up plan is, but essentially what it is a series of internal prompts that you can receive from your system that remind you when to perform specific actions at the right times for specific contacts, right? These follow-up plans can be added manually or automatically to your contacts. An example, perhaps you have just come back from a networking meeting and you've met a couple of great people that you want to make sure that you follow up with. You can go and add them to your AttractWell system and then apply a follow-up plan to them yourself so that you are reminded to check them out on social, leave a comment, friend them, send a message, and so on, just as an example. But another way that you can add these follow-up plans is automatically through automations in AttractWell. And that allows you to, when someone performs an action, whether that be an existing lead in your system or a new lead coming in, you can not only send messages out to them or redirect them to specific places strategically on a basis of automation, you're also able to have the system apply a follow-up plan so that you aren't just relying on a machine reaching your people, that you can also manually go and reach out and touch and learn more about the folks that are engaging with you, which is a really important thing for you to do. All right. Of course, these follow-up plans as well are what you use to power the to-dos, your to-do list inside of your AttractWell system. So based on where that person is in the bigger picture pipeline of your business, you will always know what to do next if you're using these, and the to-dos will show up for specific dates, because we are able to provide intervals when we design these follow-up plans to make sure that the first day, the initial to-do list for day one is, the agreement and it's this and it's that, but maybe 5 days later, there's something else that you need to be reminded to do, right? And so you're going to have a rolling look at what your to-dos are based on where your clients and leads are in your pipeline if we're using these follow-up plans. Another really cool thing, and going back to the example of Jody, our chiropractor, with her staffless practice, one of the cool things that she does with our system is that she has created a contact card for herself, and she builds out in AttractWell a marketing plan where there are certain days that she needs to create and then release certain types of marketing materials for her business. And she's put those down in intervals inside of a marketing plan, applies that to herself. And so she's not only getting to-dos for her contacts, she gets them for herself. And for those of you who want to run events using AttractWell, we do have an events manager. You can create to-do lists for events with this follow-up plan feature as well, so that you are able to make sure that, let's just say, for instance, you are going to have a vendor table at a conference. You will be able to make a to-do list for yourself around booking the space and getting the tablecloth and printing the stuff and all that kind of things too, right? So a lot of systems in your business we can support with this, but this is just where we're going to start. Okay, so before we get into communications training, I'm going to switch over to share my screen with you inside of the AttractWell dashboard, and we're going to learn about our follow-up plans and how we can set them up. So you can find them under contact settings and then go to follow-up plans as an item here. You can also go up here to the search bar and type in follow-up plans, and you'll find it here as well. So you may or may not have any here yet. It's a pretty simple, straightforward thing to do. I'm going to go over here and click create follow-up plan. I'm going to call this new contact to warm lead, right? And I'm going to create a follow-up plan according to that example that I gave you, from introduction to warm lead. So the first thing was to add them to the contact manager, which I will have already done by this stage. So the first thing that I want to do is maybe leave notes for myself. So this is going to be add notes from initial meeting. Right? And by the way, if you don't see this coaching activity and points here, this is something that's specifically enabled inside of plans that want to use our network marketing features. If you are not a network marketer, then you could just ignore this part right here, or a social seller. All right, so I want to add notes from the initial meeting. Maybe the next day I want to actually do that second thing I said I wanted to do. I want to look them up and add them on social, and like and comment on one of their posts. And then, oops, this is too early. I want to do that in the next one. So I'm going to add that one. I also want to, within 24 hours, send an email, text, or DM to keep the conversation going, right? And then what I want to do from that point forward is stay in touch once per week. So what I'm going to go ahead and do here is I'm going to copy this, and actually I'm going to do that on the first day, and I want to do that once a week. So maybe on day 8, 7 days later, I'm going to do this again. Another 7 days later, I'm going to do that again. And so we've got, 3 weeks worth of sort of initiating contact. And of course, there's a lot you can do with those conversations over the course of several weeks. We'll do one more here, and then I'll show you what you can do maybe once somebody is past this stage and you aren't quite to the point where it makes sense to make an offer. But first, let's go over to our contacts. And let's just pretend here that I am someone that Jane has met recently. And so I'm going to put a note in here, which is actually, first, let me go and add to this contact. If you haven't created a contact, you can actually hit create here and add whatever information you have for them. You can also add a follow-up plan here. So tell you what, I'll go ahead and just type this in here to show you. All right, so I have her email address. She shared that with me. And I'm going to add the new contact to warm lead follow-up plan. Background info, we met at networking event on the 17th of August. So I'm going to create this contact. And that follow-up plan was added. If you didn't add the follow-up plan when you created the contact, what you're also able to do is just go to your contacts, look for your person. So let's search them. And of course, we can click here, go to actions, bulk contact actions, and then find our follow-up plan and apply it there. So, but she already has that applied, which means that we already have a to-do here. So we do need to add notes from our initial meeting. I can go ahead and check that off and go over here and add that note. So I'm going to go over here, and this was a meeting. And we can add whatever notes, right? So just using a contact manager here, using a CRM, if you've done this before, this should be pretty familiar. This is post-dated because we met on the 17th. If I want to give myself an additional to-do related to this, I could do this after the fact. But that's not what I'm going to do here. So we'll say we'll met at networking event, has kids, whatever the relevant information is, right? So we just add this past action. And so we've completed this task. We had a meeting. Maybe I want to go look them up and add them on social to like and comment on their posts. Once I've done that, I can check that off. And then of course you can see things that are done on your to-do list. And then they'll be added to your past actions once you're done with that. So that is our follow-up plan. If you wanted to create an additional kind of follow-up plan for things like events or for things like your marketing plans for yourself, you can go to create a follow-up plan, and I'm going to type in marketing plan. We'll maybe do a 6-month marketing plan. And anything that you want to assign yourself immediately is going to be a 0, day 0. That means it's going to go out to you right away. And then of course you go in intervals beyond that. So if day 1 of the marketing plan is, obviously I don't have a marketing plan off the top of my head, but it could be to create blog posts, the next to do. So yeah, so this will be, we'll make this one for blogging. So write for blog posts. And then on the second day, we're going to create 4 Canva images for blog posts. We talked about blogging recently on this channel. The next day, maybe we'll write 4 emails to send out blog posts. And then on the 4th day, we will create, oops, that's 4. And then we go create social posts for 4 blog posts from existing Canva images. Then we will add blog posts to AttractWell. Then we will schedule emails to go out with blog posts, right? So we can just keep adding this stuff, and we're giving ourselves a marketing plan. And so basically what you're going to want to do is go find your own contact. And so this would be, I don't know if Jane has her own. Yeah, there we go. So this is Jane's own contact. And so we're just going to go to edit her contact. And we're going to add that marketing plan right here. And once we save those changes, then we're going to see those to-dos here and as well as on the dashboard. Thank you for the question, Blackwood LLC. No, this is not something that is visible to leads or customers or prospects or anybody. Follow-up plans are strictly internal prompts for you to view so that you can stay on top of what you need to do for an existing customer or for someone else. So if I go and I look, let's just say, here, these are for today, right? And then of course, there's several for the last 7 days. Let me go back to, you can actually backdate and you can date in the future as well and see what else needs to be done. And if you create a to-do list for yourself with a follow-up plan and you go and you create an event, you can add that follow-up plan to an event, and you'll be able to see your to-dos for those events right here, which is pretty cool. All right, so let's get back over here into the slides so that we can keep this going. All right. So now we're going to get into our communications training. Our goal here is to train your system to speak like you. And this is where we start to get into the things that your clients, leads, customers can see. So what we're going to do is create saved replies for each instance in your outline that you've created, where you would normally send an email, a text, or a DM to share information or links, to ask them questions, things like I don't know, scripts, if you use any kind of sort of, conversation frameworks, things like that. You can create little cheat codes for yourself with these saved replies. I'll show you how to do that in just a second. Of course, this would be for each phase. In this case, the example phases are up to someone who is a warm lead, up to the point where there's an opportunity to offer to share what you do. Then, of course, from presenting to the close, from new client to establish, from establish to higher tier offering, or whatever your outline flow looks like, your phases look like for your business. And where our saved replies are concerned, we're creating these resources to speak on your behalf are concerned. Make sure you're looking for repeats in your outbox, your email outbox as it is right now, and your DMs. Anything that you've said more than once or anticipate saying or sharing more than once in your business is worthy of a saved reply. All right. And then once we've got saved replies created, just real quick, if there are things that you know that you would share in sequence, one after the other, regardless of any other circumstances, there is an opportunity here to create a campaign where you can drip a series of messages that you've written. All right. And that is something that is, it's a little bit more advanced, and we'll get into what that looks like in the next phase of what we're training on here today. But for now, let's go get into our saved replies so that you can see all of the cool ways that you can use them for your business. All right. So saved replies are going to be found just like your follow-up plans under contact settings, and then saved replies, or you could search saved replies up here in the search bar. So coming to saved replies, this is canned responses effectively. If you've used those before for some function of your business, it's also a great way to create templated or modular pieces of information that you can drop into other content. That's a really cool thing, including stuff that can go into blog posts, emails, texts, what have you. Now, there are two ways to go about using your saved replies. The first one is to actually compose an entire message. So this would be a new client welcome email, for instance. And so this would say, welcome to your program, right? Whatever your program is. And then in here, we'll share links, expectations, instructions, etc., right? Let them know everything that they need to know for this particular purpose. It's the same thing that you would say to the next one as this one, right? So it's got a subject line. This is the difference. I want to show you how this works differently. So we've got our new client welcome email. It's called welcome to my program. This can be, again, it can be a text. I'm going to go ahead for simplicity's sake, show you email today. So let's go apply that to this, this contact here. And that is this one that we created here today. I want to send her, she's just signed up to become my client. I want to send her an email that shares a welcome message, a link to my Facebook group, a link to an assessment, and instructions on how to get on her first call with me. So I'm going to go right here to mail. I'm going to go to saved replies, and I'm going to find new client. What was that? New client welcome. There you go. And so there it is. Welcome to program. Here are links, expectations, instructions. And of course, it populated our email signature right here. So this is one thing that you can do, which is pretty cool. You can do that to one or to many. But also what you can do in saved replies is you can create modular pieces of information. So let's just say, for instance, you have a free offer, like some kind of a freebie, or maybe even a free group that you offer. So you have like a free Facebook group. So this would be a join the free Facebook group, send to all leads in emails, right? So you're not going to write every single lead, every single email from your system to leads. Maybe that's some's going to go to your customers, clients, and so on. But this is just going to be a thing that we can drop in to your to the end of some of your emails and make this modular. So I'm going to borrow from an existing saved reply this formatting. I'm going to delete some of it as well. I don't want all of this stuff here. So, oops. This is going to say, join our free community. We've got filler text in here. And then I want to add the link to whatever that group is, right? So put the Facebook group URL here and give them a call to action. Replace this with an image from your group. Maybe we'll just use this one for now. And then I'm just going to delete the rest of the stuff that's in this email. All right, so this guy is done. I'm going to save this. And now let's just say I'm going to be composing a welcome series for new leads. And let me see, I probably have one in here already. Let's just say this is a nurture sequence. There's 3 messages in it. And I've got an existing message here, and I want to make sure that this person knows that they can join our group. So I'm going to hit enter and show with my cursor where I want to insert this thing I just created. And then I'm going to go find it, and it pops right in. Right? So that's another way that you can use your saved replies. And finally, and this is a little bit unrelated, the saved reply feature with those templates, you can also use for creating your blogs. So it's also a great way to create content. All right, final piece here. I know we're doing a lot today. We're covering a lot here. We're getting into systems training next. And what I want to share with you here are some examples of directions you can go. And there are supplemental trainings that exist for these because they do require a few more steps. But I will tell you, if you want to have the benefit of the time leverage where it feels like you've got your own personal assistant, please do make sure that you followed those first steps. You're really clear on what the whole outline and what the phases are, where you need to be present, what those steps are inside of those processes so that you can best design things like this that actually work for you, right? Coming up with something that doesn't fulfill an existing use in your business is a lot more difficult than coming up with something that logically connects to a need that you already have, right? All right, so once you've established your systems, right, and you've got your reminders in place from those to-dos, you're applying those to your contacts, and then of course you've got your own words ready with saved replies to be able to send out quickly whenever you need to say a thing that you're going to be repeating. And let's face it, you are probably going to be repeating a lot in your business if you don't already. Now we can look at taking things to the next level with automating systems in your business. So I'm going to give a few suggestions and point you in the direction of a few trainings that you can follow to help you achieve these ends. One, and this is a huge time saver, is a call booking funnel. You can eliminate the back and forth of when can you meet? Oh, I can't meet then. How about this date? How about this time? You can set things up to where your availability shows on a calendar. People go and book it. It's pre-established. And all you got to do is show up for your call. And if you're using the call booking funnel, then you're also getting intake information so that expectations are set for that call and you're prepared going into it for what you need to help the other person on the call get what they came for. There's also new lead nurture sequences. It's a great system for you to have in place to attach to anything that you offer for free, including just a simple sign up to get your updates if you're promoting your list on social media or anywhere else that you're showing up. So that new lead nurture sequence, say that 5 times fast, that is a part of our client funnel challenge, and there is a broader strategy in how you connect those things. So if you follow it in full, then you will have a seamless structure in terms of how you move people from curious to interested into your calendar, and then of course into your offerings. Another great way to systematize and create leverage is in your new client onboarding. Got a big training on that one. And then we can add leverage to how you serve clients. So let's get into these. First is the discovery call funnel. You can search this on our YouTube channel. I will put the link in the description on YouTube. This discovery call funnel is going to show you how you can have people arrive at a page where they input information, not just their name and their email or whatever the contact information is you want from them, but perhaps an answer to the question of what their goal is in speaking with you, their readiness to commit to a plan, right? If this is for a client as opposed to a discovery call for prospective clients, if it's for an existing client, maybe this is for a particular phase in your process of working with clients where you want to kind of get a read on their progress and where they are down the path of the different metrics that you work with your clients on. So definitely check this out to save yourself a ton of time and allow people to book themselves with you while allowing you to be prepared for calls and hop onto them, spending the least amount of administrative time possible. The next one would be this client funnel challenge that is attractwell.com/CFC. This is where you can create an entire system that includes where people opt in to get something from you, to where they get exposed to an opportunity to book with you right away as a lead. And then, of course, to continue on from there to ideally hop onto a call and become your client if they're a fit. This is an existing training on our YouTube channel, new client onboarding systems. In this training, I actually show you an automated onboarding process that I use for clients and a way for you to explore building your own. Finally, we have coursifying your coaching, which is how you build leverage into what you offer. Especially if you are coaching, there is at least 40%, in a lot of cases, more of your time that's spent with clients that is spent on educating the client and bringing them up to speed so they can get into implementation on what you want to coach and offer for them to do, right? And so if we go about creating resources for our business the right way, we can give more value to our clients, allowing them to really be present with the education piece to cover what it is that they need to know so that you can spend more time together being productive, which ultimately amounts to less time overall. You can shorten your calls with clients down to half an hour when you have clarity on what's going to be talked about on them. And then, of course, you can get so much more done than you would have in twice the time if they've been introduced to concepts previously in a coordinated, designed fashion. So that you'll find covered in this particular training. So I'm excited to hear from you guys. If you have any questions, we're going to get into those. If you want to look at anything together, we can do that. And we're just so happy that you're here today and looking forward to seeing how you are going to put this to work in your business. All right, we can come back to the party with our faces. Hey. All right, so okay, so Mark had asked the question, the function of the points. The function of the points in the outline is really just to give yourself an exhaustive list of what are the things that I do, right? So the example in maybe you've just recently met somebody who might be a prospective client for you. You would like to make sure that you follow a checklist of things with them. So you are going to look them up on social and get a feel for who they are. You're going to take notes and you're going to add them to your system. You're going to set a reminder for yourself to maybe check in with them again. So that's what the points are. When you're getting a new client started with you, there are specific things that you also want to make sure that they do. You want them to sign an agreement. You want to set a schedule, or, you know, however it is that you work with clients or what your offering looks like, you're going to have a list, and it may be sequential where it needs to be 1 before 2, 2 before 3, or it may just be a list that could be bulleted. It doesn't really matter how you set it up. But what does matter is that you contain everything that's necessary as your business operates right now in that outline, so that you can say, okay, now if I create a to-do list for myself as a not a saved reply, as a follow-up plan in AttractWell, you know exactly what you need to put there and what function that's going to fill for you in your business. And it's gonna make a lot of logical sense when you go about using it. So let me see if there are any other questions. We are here. Let us know. We're happy to come out and chat with you. Any kind of reviews or anything like that. But if not, then we can get on our way and start building an assistant inside of AttractWell today. Okay, Alicia says, how would I inquire about getting one of your virtual assistants to help with this? It's a great question. You can go to attractwell.com/VA, and we do have virtual assistants that can help you with this. Greg just put that there in the comments. Tom asked, I may have missed it, if I have a follow-up process set up for me, say for nurturing a relationship, is there a notification email to turn on? Oh, really, really good question. Actually, there's one thing that I have not shown you guys. So if you're using follow-up plans, Tom, as I've outlined here today, and you're applying those follow-up plans to those people with whom you want to nurture those relationships, then you're going to be getting to-dos. The to-dos are going to show up in your dashboard, of course, but you need to be logged into AttractWell to see this. If you want to get these emails sent to you, what you want to do is go under Contact Settings, go to General Settings. This is also where you set up your email signature. And then just make sure you have this box checked right here. Send me a daily email of activity and to-dos. And so that email is actually going to be a digest of who has done what in your system and what you need to do and for whom in your system as well. So that's right here. And that is in Contact Settings, right here in General Settings. Hey, Heidi, I made a client intake form like a survey. I need to edit it and I can't find it. So it's going to be on a page, Heidi. It's going to be on a page in your account. So be sure that you are looking at pages here under website. And then you maybe got to kind of think about what you named it. Because all that information is going to be inside of a lead form on a page. Good questions here. Susan, the recording of this video, we're going to be sending that out. So if you're here live on this call today, you are very likely, that means that you're signed up for office hours. So you're receiving emails for the replay. So we will be sending that out as soon as this is done processing today, and it will live on our YouTube channel. That is youtube.com/AttractWell. Alicia, does the platform have a calendar or scheduling feature? Good question. It does not yet. That is something that's on our wish list. It's in the works, but we do integrate really nicely with third-party services. Any calendar booking service that you use, you can have a form that you can embed on your website from them. And so if you can grab that form from wherever, you can embed it really easily on AttractWell onto one of your pages. And actually in that call funnels video that I mentioned that's on our channel, you can find that spelled out there as well. I personally use Calendly. You could use whatever you want. Depending on how you run your business, we see a lot of folks who use Calendly. They have a free version. If you have just like a standard 30 minutes with somebody, whether they're a client or a prospect, you can, if you're embedding that form onto a particular page and using the intake form process, like I teach in that call funnel systems video, you could actually get away with a free Calendly version for a lot of different businesses. There we go. And Greg did, oh, there's a help article on that. And Greg put that in the chat here. Awesome. Good questions, you guys. Let me know if you have any more or if you'd like to come out and chat. Otherwise, we're going to get to work. You guys are going to have a special guest trainer next week. And we're really looking forward to seeing what you do with this. Do make sure if you're here today and you have other things that you want to learn how to do and you haven't quite found the answers to those things yet, or you've dreamed up an idea for your business and you're not quite sure how you would use AttractWell to execute it, let us know. Shoot us an email. We are always thrilled to create content like this to help you and to even sit down with you and help you work through it, to kind of dream it out and map it out and give you a game plan to help you get it done. And then, of course, if you need a little help with getting it done, we do have a team that can help you get it built as well. So thank you guys so much for being here today. Thank you, Greg, for making this amazing system and now creating a situation where we've got like a nice little shadow floaty section thing on pages. I'm excited to update some of mine with that because it looks really good.
Cool.
Awesome. All right. Well, we will see you guys next week. Take care and have fun creating your assistant.
Bye.
See you.